There's the city water people, and basically what happened was my house is supposed to have a water meter down where the water comes out, and I didn't realize that. And the previous owner took it out, and it got back to the city storage or something, and then it went out to a different house, and so it was hooked up to some other house, and now it's been reading off of that. So they had to come and put a new meter on there, and I was worried about what was going to happen, because there's technically I'm supposed to pay for a new meter, and unless it's broken, and they just replace it. But they had to come down and replace the meter down there. This here is the meter that they just installed. So I remember hooking this up, and it stopped right there, and it had this attachment, and I just had no idea what was here and what was. I thought it was just a missing pipe that they took out because the water froze or something. But he gave me some good tips to know how to take care of that, make sure it doesn't freeze. And I was gonna get put this heated rope on there, and this is about 6 feet long or so. Has a little thermostat or a sensor right here. When the temp gets low enough, it'll just turn it on. So I'll use this foam insulation to kind of wrap around the pipe. Kind of be a passive maintenance on that. I could just hook that up, and it'll just be warmed up. Even if I leave the house or whatever, it'll just keep it warm. I could probably even hook that into a battery backup or something. It's just experiences from owning a house, I guess. Learn as you go, and I'm sure a lot of people know these things already, but here's this heat rope thing, or the heat tape, whatever they call it. It's installed in this on the water main, and all it was is just a plug in here, an extension cord going over to a plug on the light. Pretty simple installation. And I have the thermostat laid up right against that pipe, and so once that gets cold enough, it just automatically turns on. And I can't tell you how relieving that is, just to have this on there as maybe the furnace isn't on for a little bit and it gets cold enough. My worries go away with it. I have it running up all through this pipe, and you can see it on the top there, and then that's where it ends. I thought of even getting a longer one, and I saw one for like 30 feet, and I thought maybe I could just run it all the way through most of my house and not worry about it. I think what I would do differently down here on this water meter, I'd probably just wrap it around once or twice maybe, just so the heat gets all around it, and then I'll probably put a insulated box around it, because it gets expensive if you need to replace it, and I don't want that to happen. So I just wanted to show that real quick, just to show you what that heated tape is. Come in many different lengths, so I think it was worth it. I could probably plug this into a backup battery at some point, so if the power goes out, this will stay on. But I thought this takes away a lot of my worries having that on there. Really easy to install. Honestly, this little incident was a little bit of a scare for me, because the guys could have come in here and charged me $700 and maybe pay a back pay for all the time that I wasn't getting charged the water. So luckily they were nice, and that was a great blessing. But what it did was it triggered all of my desire to find alternative ways. So I found all these ways that we've probably heard of, digging your own well, or doing a water collector type thing in the desert areas, dehumidifier that basically collects water out of the air, and there's also some passive things that you could build that actually collects moisture in the air that I haven't heard of. And there's a video of a guy doing that in some other country, and they're very grateful for that. He's inventing ways of doing this. It's kind of like a water catcher. It acts kind of like an air well type of thing. And then there's air wells that you could build that naturally pull moisture out of the air, and it doesn't require any power or anything. It just if you understand the concept, then you could understand what you can do inventive wise to be able to make that. I don't pay attention to the current regulations and codes as I'm thinking and pondering about these things, because those things change in the future. As you know, city councils and all these things, that once they catch up to all the new inventive ways of doing things that are a lot better for the environment anyways, you know, those things change. That it comes and goes, and as more public knowledge becomes widespread about it, then those city codes and everything are going to have to change anyways. So just imagine, this is one of my ideas, just imagine that there is a tank up here of water, and I'm not going to actually do this, but I'm just sharing the idea. And this tank of water basically has gravity feed it through pipes. And I know you could use like a little pump like RVs use and campers or whatever. That is an option. You could use it with battery power. I was trying to think of a way to use gravity, and you can have a different faucet for the water to flow through, and then you could invent a way to heating that, and you have waterless tankless heaters for water, and it could like gravity fill it up, and then battery or power can heat it up and it goes through. So there are different ways that we can do this, and if this water tank was up there right above a shower, then all you need to do is have kind of like one of those rain head showers, and then you could just turn the valve and the gravity just lets it rain on you. And so that's a way of doing it without needing any pressure for a shower. Same with the toilet. Even a toilet that uses water, basically all the toilet needs is just water to fill in the tank. So it doesn't need power or anything. You probably know that, but if the power goes out, you could fill it with a bucket, and you could still use the toilet. And so if that water tank is up here, and you just turn the valve, or even just have it run through and have the valve automatically open it up, and it'll fill in the tank. So there's so many other ways we can do this, and if you think of all of these ways, then we're not going to have to rely on all these plumbing, electricity, and all these other things that we worry about. We're not going to have to worry about water meters, and I know a lot of big corporations in the United States and other countries don't like to hear that, but we want to take the meters off of our lives, and that's just the nature of human beings, is they want to be free. So those things we're starting to think of, and we'll think of ways of having the codes change, and just think of principles behind safety and sanitation. And if it's a clean and safe way of doing it, then the codes can change to that. I mean, what I just told you is probably even old news for a lot of people, but there are other alternatives that I'm thinking about in the future, like building a house out of rammed earth and having it insulate itself, and just by the thermal mass that it has, it just regulates itself with the temperature. So I'm going to do a video about that. That's pretty amazing. I want to do my future home in Arizona that way, and I'm going to have alternative everything in there. And just right now I'm just thinking through the plans and all the ideas, and not letting the codes or regulations discourage me, because by the time I actually get to it, some of them will change. So as these things come out, I'm going to keep pointing you in the right direction of all these new inventions, things that we've never heard of before. Hopefully I'm going to make some of these things, and we'll get them into the public eye. One of the things I'm going to do with a composting toilet is I'm going to make them out of these old shop vac or cleaners for carpet, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that.